Hello, everyone. We are live. I am Amy from Thinkific. I work on our social team, and we're joined here today with Kyshira Moffett. And we're doing our Winning Women series, all about women in coaching and the tips and tricks that they can share from their journey. Before we start, I'm just going to say if you are interested in starting an online course, we have a free trial, so be sure to check that out. But now let's get into today's topic. So, Kyshira, do you want to give an introduction of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be back here with Thinkific, one of my favorite partners. And no, I'm not being paid to say that. They really are one of my favorite partners. To talk to you all today about coaching skills. My name is Kyshira. I have been in the coaching and course industry since 2014 now. So almost 10 years, which is insane to say because it still feels like yesterday. Today in this space, I am an international board certified business success and life coach, and I primarily coach high achieving women who desire to start and scale their own online coaching programs and courses. So we work with you both on the life coaching side to work through any of the mindset blocks that may be stopping you from taking action, and then we work with you on the business side, which is where my expertise really reigns supreme, as I did study business in school and have corporate experience. So we take you start to finish through the inception, from taking the idea from just being in your head through the full inception and development of it. Once you begin to get that consistent revenue, and we then help you with diversifying through courses, digital products, and things like that. I'm an author. All of my books are available on Amazon. I have books on marketing and branding. I do a ton of speaking. I've done physical products. I have a lot of different experiences, but I will tell you that I always come back to coaching. There is never a world where I don't see myself as a coach. I thoroughly love and enjoy what I do. And I'm really excited to be here with you to talk with you all about the skills you want to build and continue to sharpen to take your coaching practice to the next level.
Amazing. And your business is the Power Collective.
It is. So my company is called The Power Collective. If you're searching for us online, it's typically under my name, but The Power Collective is our full-on coaching and consulting firm. So we do have both a B2B side and a B2C side. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about that B2C side, which is the coaching.
Amazing. I'm so excited to jump into everything and so impressed that you've been in the industry since 2014. That is
I
absolutely.
know it's like a long time ago, but it doesn't feel like it. I feel like, especially with the fact that the industry isn't stale, it moves so fast. There's always new developments. I have two Thinkific accounts, my current one, and then the one from when I had pink branding and I was doing personal branding, career coach, and that feels like a lifetime ago, but like that just shows you how dynamic the space is.
Yes, it's amazing how fast things change in this
Mm-hmm.
industry. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that you have learned a lot along the way. So we're going to
Yeah.
get into all that. But first, would love to hear how you actually became an online coach and what that journey looked like.
Yeah, I mean, it was not an intentional decision. However, as I reflect on my journey, it feels like everything lined up. So, quick backstory, I did study business. I went to business school. I have an MBA degree, and I worked in banking as well as higher education, but always in like the people roles. So, I worked in human resources, and not only in just like recruiting, but also in talent management and with the leadership development programs. And then when I worked in higher ed, I was the assistant director of career services. So I was working with graduate level students on branding themselves in the marketplace and navigating the job market and the communication skills and the influence skills. And it just always came back to helping people really take that next step in life wherever that led them. And behind the scenes, outside of work, I was doing freelance coaching in the form of resume writing and like career placement, just because a lot of my friends from school needed the help. And so it went from just doing things for friends, just casually, no money was involved, to friends saying, no, you need to start charging for this, and I have referrals for you. So then it became this impromptu business. But again, it was really meant to just be a side thing. And I'm like, well, I should start a blog. I've always been a writer. I've loved writing. Let me start this blog and start talking about it. And at the time, Twitter was like the thing. If you were a blogger, you had to be on Twitter. So I was sharing content on Twitter, and I'm skipping a lot of steps here, but that led to, new followers, subscribers, creating a Facebook group, people wanting to be in the community, creating a space for women who were entrepreneurial entrepreneurial, but also career women to have a safe space, because back in 2014, it was taboo to be a side hustler. Like today, it's almost required for survival. But back then it was like, you would get judged. Like if I went to an entrepreneurship conference and I said I had a job, it's like, oh, you're not really an entrepreneur. If I went to a career conference and said I have a side business, it's like, you're planning on leaving the company. And it's like, it was just, you were not welcomed in those spaces. So I began to create that. And so it just kept merging. And as I was working with different women from different spaces, it went from women saying, help me with LinkedIn and my resume to get this job, to help me with LinkedIn to market my consulting business, help me market my event planning business. And then it became, help me market my business in general. And so I just had the habit of saying, as long as I feel like I can do it, I'm going to say yes. And I began to have so much experience that I figured out what gave me joy and what didn't give me joy, and began to make those changes. And I've pivoted a lot as I've just outgrown some things. And that's a part of the entrepreneurial journey. You start to release some limiting beliefs and begin to expand your growth mindset, and then your vision gets bigger, and what you begin to desire and want to do begins to shift. And it's like this natural evolution. So it was a result of me saying yes a lot and not internalizing some of the negative experiences and quote unquote failures I may have seen in corporate America in the lens of discrimination and racial bias, age bias, gender bias, all the biases. I've heard it, seen it, experienced it. So instead of letting that like kind of discourage me, but actually taking that and letting it fuel me to move forward with this business where I can now have more impact for the people that I want to serve.
I love that. Sounds like a very natural progression for you. And it's such an amazing situation that you're in, where you now get to empower other people to break those biases and go after what they truly are passionate about and are dreaming of doing. So it sounds like it's very rewarding for you as well, which is amazing.
It is. And I don't want to sell the dream that I just knew the whole way through every step. This is what I was supposed to do. There was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of sleepless nights of figuring out, where am I supposed to be and what role do I play in this world? So if you're feeling that right now, that's normal and it's natural. You will get through it. But I will tell you, I tell my friends this all the time, my worst day as an entrepreneur will never rival my worst day in corporate America. Like I would never go back. like I cannot trade that, because at the end of the day, I know here for a fact that my work literally impacts people, even the ones who I don't know, those that just consume my content through my podcast or YouTube channel. I get the emails every now and then and just say, hey, you don't know me, but you've helped me. And that is what keeps you going when you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Of course. Yeah. Those impactful moments fuel so much greatness for the future, which is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And so as a coach, what do you think are the 3 skills that help a coach be successful?
I love that the question is 3 and I wrote down 6. Apparently following directions. Following directions is not one of the skills on my list. So
we want all the skills. So
I'll merge some of them together. So one of the first and top skills you have to develop as a coach is strong listening skills. People think that comes innate, like, oh, I'm a good listener, but most humans listen to respond versus listening to understand. And as a coach, we are not here to inflict bias, and we are not here to make someone go our way. And that's one of the biggest distinctions. If you're a course creator watching this and you're pivoting to coaching, it is a little bit different, because in the course space, you're like, this is what it is. This is how you do it. Period. But the point of coaching, if you look at the definition of coaching, it's literally to help the client pull out what's in them using their own innate talents and gifts to now define a new path forward. So our goal is to help open up and unleash, not necessarily sow a new way, if that makes sense, right? Now, obviously, in today's day and age, there's these hybrid experiences of coaching and courses. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a coach, you have to know how to listen, and listen well. Your clients need to feel heard and understood, so that you also know the next best question to ask to help them arrive at the solution. And you want to ask questions that spark like ideas and openness versus sparking defensiveness. Right? So it's the difference between saying, why do you live in Toronto, and what's keeping you in Toronto? those are the same question, but asking it the first way will just immediately make you say, girl.
True. It has such a
And
different
it'll
response.
exactly, it'll begin to get a defensive response, and now you're viewed as an enemy of sorts. That's an intense word, but what I'm saying is you now are no longer like a safe space. You're now someone I have to defend against again. So you really want to begin to sharpen that strong listening skills, and it's something that you can easily develop with friends and family, right? Beginning to, especially as a coach, when you have to start to almost tap into an intuitive nature of listening for what they're not saying, listening for what's in between the lines, and knowing how to ask a question to pull that out versus just inferring. So
Yes.
good listening skills. Of course, that leads to strong communication skills. Again, really understanding how to have it, sensitive conversations, tough conversations. For those of you watching that are, life coaches and mindset coaches, a lot of times you're dealing with sensitive information and sensitive topics. And unless you are a certified clinician, you're not a therapist. So you have to understand at what point does coaching stop and therapy start. And there's a lot of books and research on that. That's a whole other topic. But at the end of the day, your goal is not to inflict more pain and cause more trauma. Your goal is to help someone work through whatever they came to you for. So you need strong communication skills. Like I tell people all the time, if you're the type of person that overtalks people, you get really defensive, you're really aggressive, you're mean, but you cover it up by saying I'm truthful and blunt, this may not be the space for you if you're not willing to adjust that for your coaching clients. They're not signing up for a drill sergeant, they're signing up for a coach. So communication is huge. Additionally, I put on my list collaboration, a bit essentially meaning you have to know how to give and take in coaching, because when you're helping a client create an action plan or a goal plan, you're not telling them what to do. You're not saying step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You're helping them along the way. So I like to call this collaboration, because this kind of impacts how you are in groups and in teams. Like, are you the person that has to make the decisions and the rules, or are you the person that's willing to open up and collaborate? So what I put here is just don't give orders. Get out of the habit of it's my way or the highway when it comes to coaching. And instead, I would even have more of a strengths-based approach. How can you tap into that client's talents and strengths so that they feel empowered along the way with that, right? I think a lot of people focus on weaknesses. And sure, I mean, clients may come and they get help with releasing certain behaviors, but let's tap into their existing strengths to help them with releasing that behavior versus them operating from this place of like lack or feeling like they're missing out on something.
Yeah,
The
and it's
last,
such
go
a
ahead.
sorry, it's such a two-way
Okay.
street, and you need to understand that not everyone works the same way too. So that's such an
Mhm.
important thing to consider when you're talking about collaboration, is what works for
Mhm.
you might not work for them. So yeah, having that open communication is
Yeah,
key.
exactly. Like you have to be adaptable. Now, obviously, a lot of this has to do with one-on-one coaching. Group coaching is a little bit different depending upon if it's curriculum based or if it's a mastermind. But you have to realize that there is a human on the other end of this, right? Like we are all created, uniquely different. We're wired differently. So you have to be able to go with the ebbs and flows of what that person's comfortable with, and knowing that coaching is not me simply just pushing you off of a ledge, but it's us taking these incremental steps. So again, you being able to be a strong listener, being a good collaborator, you can help the client create a plan of action that still pushes them, but is also comfortable for them.
Yes.
And that your comment actually leads to my next one, which is adaptability. Yes, we have frameworks, we have methodologies, we have methods, but at some point you have to be able to adapt, because just like life happens for you, life happens for the client too. So sometimes you have to be willing to throw the plan out of the window almost to adjust to the new needs or concerns, constraints that the client may have. Lastly, organization skills. There is a lot of paperwork in coaching, a lot of paperwork, a lot of follow up, keeping up with your clients, where they are, what you all covered in prior sessions. You never want a client to feel like you have no idea who they are or what they have going on. So you need to have really strong organization skills to keep everything together. And that was the end of my list.
That is an amazing list, and there's so many tidbits from that everyone can use. So
Thank you.
amazing. And I think it kind of feeds into our next question, and some of them might be relevant for it as well. But what are 3 ways to build an unforgettable client experience?
Yeah, this is amazing. It's interesting because the first thing on my list has to do with your onboarding, and that's actually one of my free courses on Thinkific, how to create a memorable onboarding experience. And one thing I like to do in today's digital age is send a physical token of appreciation in the mail. Now, obviously, the cost of this, you need to factor this into your services so that it actually makes sense for you. And it doesn't have to be anything big. I've had people send me flowers. I've had people send me gifts. Like, it really ranges, but it needs to be in alignment for you and for the program. But what I love about the physical token of appreciation is that, especially now with the pandemic and everything being so virtual and digital and people feeling like they don't have the same, human connection with others, that physical token almost makes it more real. And it helps people to feel like you thought about them, because I never tell them that I'm sending it. It's a surprise. It doesn't come necessarily on the first day that they sign up, because I kind of want them to not expect something. And when they get it, it's like inevitably like almost like a recommitment for them. So we have we temporarily had a branded box, but since I've moved, I haven't been able to get them back yet. But we had like a branded box with like our company logo on it, and they get journals and post-it notes and coffee mugs and all kinds of cool things with like the branding of our program on it, though, so that because our program is a group program, so they feel included and they feel like I'm really a part of this community, and they can't wait to show it off. And it just really leaves a mark, and it cements your place in their mind. It's like, this person really cares about the experience. They've taken the extra mile.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we like to do. And then from there, the next thing I'd like you to think about goes beyond the onboarding, and it's more about like when the client is in the program. And I think that this happens subconsciously, especially if it's a client you've had for a while or that's re-signed with you. But don't skip the small talk at the beginning of your sessions. This helps with establishing rapport. And if you've studied neuro-linguistic programming, it's actually like, if you look at the best practices of how to lead an NLP coaching session, it always says to establish rapport, where you're finding some kind of common ground with that client. Not only does it help with the relationship, but it helps to create a safe space in that session. You have no idea what that client was facing or dealing with before they got on that Zoom call with you. So you want to now get them into a space where they feel comfortable, they feel safe, and they're ready to share. It only takes a couple of minutes, and there's no rhyme or reason to how it is. I mean, you can ask about, if you know that they have kids, ask about their kids. If you know that they have a day job, ask about the job, ask about their family dinner. Make sure you know their birthdays and wedding anniversaries or other important dates. Those are all things that can be on the onboarding form that you give them, so that you have that information. But once you have that, review your notes. Make sure you have a buffer in between coaching calls so that you have time to review the notes and ask about the person. You can also take it a step further, like I do, which is look at their social media. You don't have to friend them or follow them if you don't want to. It's not required. But if they have public profiles, take a quick look at their stories and see, like, did they just get a recognition at work? Because you can bring that up in the coaching session. So don't skip the small talk. That does help to leave a lasting impression. And that very much leads to my last one, which is hold space for your client. Don't overtalk them. Don't rush them through a thought. And if you feel like they have something that they need to talk about, even if it's not necessarily relevant to your program, don't be afraid to take 5 minutes to just hold space. A lot of times people just need a place to get something out. They're not always looking for advice. And of course, you want to protect yourself emotionally too, which is a whole other topic. So you want to ensure that you're doing some releasing work yourself after the session, but hold space for the client, because sometimes what's happening elsewhere could be impacting how they're showing up here. Prime example, if they had a huge failure at work, they may be having some self-doubt around why they aren't moving forward with this launch plan for the business. But if you don't ask more questions and hold space, all you're going to know is we built this plan and they're not moving forward with it. And you may start coaching to the wrong thing, which can then lead to gaslighting the client. And you don't want that to happen. So just hold space for your clients. Give them space to open up and talk if they need to, but obviously know when to wrap it up so that you can move on to the next thing as well.
Those are amazing, amazing tips. And I can see how they would lead to such an unforgettable client experience and create such a deep connection between you two, which also fosters loyalty in the future, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah, coaching is such an intimate relationship. People don't understand it. Like, I know in today's day and age, it seems super transactional, but we have to understand the difference between a digital product, a self-paced course, a live course, and a coaching program. These are all impactful tools, but they're not meant to be the same thing on purpose. So I have plenty of friends who watch me do what I do, and they're like, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick to the passive stuff. I'm not built for that. And that's good. I'm glad you know, because it requires a deeper level of connection, because somebody has to trust you. If you're someone's money coach, they have to open up about their debt and their spending habits and why they spend like that. If you're someone's nutritionist or nutrition coach, they have to open up to you about their eating habits and what drive-throughs they're always in. Like, those are things that we keep personal, that people don't just talk about casually. So in order for them to feel comfortable doing it with you, even if they've made this huge investment, if they don't feel safe, they're not going to open up.
100%. And it's a lot about, like, there's a lot of seeing you as a leader and how you can help them as well. And I think that is really important. And it kind of gives way to the next question, which is, what do you consider thought leadership to be? And why is it so important for coaches to invest in becoming a thought leader?
Yeah, so I was exposed to the term thought leadership in college, because in a business program, you're one of the big things you always do is case studies, and you're studying, the major decisions CEOs and business leaders have made that have created these like huge conglomerates and legacy companies. And so I've always been like intrinsically ingrained in this idea of thought leadership. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have a blog, to start to establish that within the space of personal branding. So I love to give dictionary definitions in my live stream content. So I brought you all a dictionary definition of thought leadership, which is, in layman's terms, the consistent showing of ideas that show that you have a demonstrated expertise within a field, area, or industry. Thought leaders are not just heavily versed in their topic, but they're also eager to share it. So it's not just you know all of this stuff, you keep it to yourself, but you're actually eagerly and consistently sharing it. And building thought leadership takes a lot of education, dedication, and patience. You don't just wake up tomorrow and say, I'm a thought leader. You have to actually build up to that. So why would you want this? Why would you want to consistently show ideas within a certain subject or space? Like, why would you do that? Because it actually qualifies you as a reliable source of insight, a leader. It boosts your industry presence. It establishes credibility, and it helps to establish your brand within your particular space. So to give you real world examples, every time something goes wrong in the stock market, the people who are asked to speak on it are rarely ever financial analysts, even though that's their job. Typically, I've seen the CEO of JP Morgan Chase being asked his opinion, Elon Musk being asked their opinion. I saw the leader of like Kraft being asked their opinion. These people are viewed as thought leaders in their space. If you follow Gary Vee, love him or hate him, whenever he comes out and says, this is a new trend, this is a new big thing, herds of people follow that and begin to use it. Just like when a bunch of influencers and celebs flocked to Clubhouse, it became a thing, right? And so that's what I mean by thought leadership, in the sense of, when you share an idea, an opinion, a concept, it influences people to either want to learn more or to take action. And when we think about the industry of coaching, a historical, prestigious, old industry, it's been around forever. It's always been like prestige and coaching have always been hand in hand. It's meant to be a space of thought leaders. That is why people who make millions of dollars still have coaches. They have performance coaches. There are some of your favorite celebs. pay Tony Robbins $100,000 an hour for coaching sessions with him. Now, what kind of millionaire or billionaire would pay a coach, right? Like, why would they do that? Because that coach is a thought leader in certain spaces and can still help them, right? And so if we bring it down to like the online space, and not bring it down, but kind of make it more relatable to us, if someone off of the street is going to hire you from seeing a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, they are going to want to know that you are competent and that you have the right expertise to help lead them from the problem they have to the desired solution. If you don't have any content that showcases that, it is going to be a little bit difficult for you to now on a phone call or wherever you sell to convince them to join the program. And that already is a problem because you shouldn't have to convince anybody to join your program.
Yes, they should be like compelled to join
Exactly.
from all the content that you're showing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all about building that trust from your target audience. Like they need to trust you and know that, like you said, you're going to be able to bring them from point A to that desired outcome that they're seeking by working with you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, success leaves clues, right? And in this instance, how are we supposed to know that you're the best thing walking in your space if you don't show up and tell us? You have been your industry's best kept secret, and that doesn't work when it comes to marketing. And I also tell people who are looking for coaches, spend some time researching them, take in their free content, listen to their podcasts, watch their YouTube videos, watch their live streams, sign up for their newsletters. Are you finding it valuable? Do you agree with their positioning? Do you find that you're nodding your head and having aha moments? That's a really good sign versus do you listen to it and you just feel good and smile, but that's really it. It's kind of, I didn't really get anything, but I like the sound of their voice, because that's going to be a telltale sign. And as a coach, I've heard all of the stories that you can like a person, but they may not be the best coach for you, and vice versa.
Yeah. And I love that you touched on free content, because I think a lot of you positioning yourself as a thought leader comes through free content. It's like the key space to drive that authority in your industry or in your coaching space. So,
I mean, think about everyone's, like, I feel like for the last 10, 20 years, the obsession has been articles on morning routines, articles on productivity with quotes from your favorite CEOs, the podcast and even think about books. Some of the best-selling biographies are about leaders who are sharing their thoughts, perspectives, ideas, trials and tribulations, and people are literally reading it to like take away these nuggets, right? Like it's solidifying this person in their head is like the best there is in this particular space. It's the same thing here, which is even one of the reasons why I've written books and will plan to continue writing books, right? I feel like I am strong enough at what I do that I can document it permanently and share it with others, and they will seek value in that. So it all comes full circle.
Yes. And diversifying that free content or paid content, whether that's books or a blog or a newsletter or social, like it has to go across the board for sure.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing is, because you have so many options, you can pick which one you're most comfortable with first. If you don't want to get on camera, you have podcasting. If you don't like to talk for a long period of time, you have Reels and TikTok. I mean, you have the beautiful thing about today, you do have so many options. And as you get comfortable with one, you can begin to incorporate others. And at some point, you'll wake up one day like I did and say, oh my gosh, I'm everywhere.
Yes, the opportunities are truly endless.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you found different successes in marketing yourself across all these different platforms. So how do you market yourself to the right audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to take it back as the coach in me to the beginning, right? Like in order to find like that concept of right audience, it just varies so much from person to person. So your first step is, who are they? Like, who am I called to serve? Who am I meant to help? And going deep into that, it's no longer going to work to just say, I serve women, or to even say, I serve women entrepreneurs. You have to go deeper into, who am I helping and what kind of problem am I solving? The other thing is that I think some people have been taught that you have to just niche by their age and gender, whereas I believe we need to niche by their problem. That is where we need to play. If you can figure out what problem you're solving with your program or what situation you're working through, it'll help you to find those people. So you have to learn how to continue to ask yourself. If you don't have access to a coach, begin to coach yourself. So every time you think you have the answer, ask, well, tell me more about that. How can I go deeper into this? If it's, I'm helping women entrepreneurs who are moms, okay, well, how can I go deeper into that? Are they new moms, first time moms, single moms, moms of multiple children, moms of toddlers? Like, where do I want to play in this?
Mhm.
Asking yourself those questions to land on a niche. And the beautiful thing about it is the more experience you get, the more niche you're going to continue to get over time. Because as you heard in my beginning story, pivots happen. You will naturally evolve. So you don't have to have the right answer today. You just need a place to start. So we have to figure out who they are. Then we have to figure out what matters to them, because your interpretation of why they would want to solve this problem may differ from their actual interpretation. So an example could be, maybe I think my ideal client wants to start a coaching business because they want to have financial freedom, when in actuality, they care more about building a solid future legacy for their children. That's not necessarily the case for my audience, but if that were, I would be really off base with my messaging. So you have to figure out what matters to them, and that comes through the lens of market research. And then from there, you have to figure out, like, where are they in the online space? To be honest, people are kind of everywhere these days, but there are really niche groups still on different social media platforms.
Mhm.
So you may be investing a ton of time in the wrong space, and market research will help you to figure out the right space for you. And then once you're there, you can now begin to get consistent with delivering your message. The very first time you post, it'll probably be crickets. You may not see results the first day, the first week, but you have to build up that consistency. Get yourself into the algorithm. Begin to get in front of new eyes. Begin to see what works and doesn't work. Actually study the analytics. Play around with your messaging. Actually promote the offer. People don't do that. They just give all of this value and hope that someone will ask them about what they do. And that's just not how it works. So actually promote what you have going on and consistently get into a place where you are evolving your content. And I know that this is a very high level answer, but marketing is so deep. Like, every one of these questions could have been its own video, honestly. But marketing is so deep that if you don't have the foundational parts of what I just talked about, the who are they, where are they, what matters to them, those micro moments, the consistency muscle when it comes to it, all of the new trends won't work out for you.
Yes. And it's something that you continue to evolve as you're putting that content out, because you're getting feedback from people who are seeing it, and that can help you pivot to understand your audience a lot deeper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, some amazing tips. And you're right, every single one of these could be its own video for sure. And we probably have to have you back to go deeper into some
Yeah,
of these.
yeah.
Because your expertise is absolutely amazing. And I'm sure that the audience watching us now has a lot of questions because we've covered a lot. So why don't we go to the audience and take some questions? Let us know if there's anything you're dying to learn about from the talk that we've been having. We'd love to go deeper on anything you're curious about.
I forgot that StreamYard can put the thing on the screen. Like, oh, well, that's fancy. I like that.
Yes, it's such a great tool.
I love that.
Yeah. I guess as we're waiting, we might have some questions. No. Well, I'm sure we'll get some questions as people start to watch this on our Facebook. So we'll definitely be reaching out to you if there's anything else.
Yeah. I'll definitely come back over the next couple of days and check out the replay. But, you all didn't ask me to do this. But I do want to remind everybody about the free trial with Thinkific, because I've been with this platform for a number of years, left it and came back, and I was so sad when I left it. So if you have not tried it yet, we use Thinkific in my business, and I have some content coming for you all on how I use it, but not just for our online courses, but also to host our signature coaching programs and our client resource portals. So even if you aren't at a point yet where a course is like on your to-do list, but you have coaching programs and modules, I would highly consider getting into Thinkific, navigating the software is very user friendly, but the automations and features available on the platform is going to save you so much time. I promise.
We love that. So happy to hear how Thinkific has been such a great platform for you to use. And if anyone is interested in doing the free trial, we've added a link in the comments, so feel free to click that. And anything else you want to plug before we sign off for today?
Well, if you all want to connect with me, I am at Kyshira on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. I have a podcast called The Brand Your Power Show that I post every week on iTunes and Spotify. And if you want to visit my website to see a little bit more about what I do and how I do it, my website is thepowercollective.co.
Amazing. I am so excited that we got to have this chat. It was amazing. And I know everyone from our community will gain a lot of insights from it. So thank you so much, Kyshira, for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you
And
all.
until we do a live again.